The longer we go, the more I get into it. So let's get obscure on those people with the 6-2 profile. The 6-2. When we get to the 6, we get to appeal. It's plutonic in the exaltation, the profound attunement to the collectivity in the 61 gate, a freak gate, an individual gate, is what I love about the head centers gates. They actually don't belong to any circuit. It's always silly for me to think of it that their way, because I know it's not like that. It's like the 63 and 64 could be reversed if you read the lines. The 63 seems too abstract and the 64 seems so logical. And at the same time about the 61, it's a very, very funny thing. The collective that can lure the public to a truth, inspiration that bring clarity to the collective. You've got emotional terminology on it. The other side is to shop one cliches, the delusion that inspiration can bring clarity to the collective. This is the great dilemma of the individual and an individual mutation. In other words, how do you bring attunement? How do you bring the truth from the uniqueness of the individual to the collective? And you see that the sixth line knows how to do that, because it doesn't matter to a sixth line being who's off the roof, what is around them. Whether it's individual, tribe, collective, it makes no difference. It makes no difference what they design it. It doesn't make any difference. If you're a six line being and you're off the roof, awake as yourself, you're not going to be an enlightened father figure. It doesn't work like that. You're going to be an example, and the example is the only way that the individual can impact the collective deeply. And remember, the theme of the six is not a way to say it's your action. The action of the six reveal the level of awareness always and always. It's why six who don't have the 10th gate suffer a lot, because it takes them many, many years to learn the right behavior in order to be able to perfect what it is to be an example. Me myself, I don't have the sixth grade. I tell everybody how to love myself. I don't love myself. What? Here's one of those cases in the 6-2 where the 3-2 phase is really in many ways an advantage. That is, learning through trial and error what is to deal with the collective. The advantage of individuality mentally is that it's surrounded by the collective, and it does have this relationship to collective processes. For the 3-2, we'll learn a lot about the collective. It may be disillusions, which of course is always the possibility, the delusion that you cannot impact them. But of course, that's natural to the Saturnian cycle. It's natural to even the roof cycle. But the moment they come off the roof, they come off the roof as themselves, correct? Then, of course, they don't have to have the tools that the five needed, the hustle, the seduction, all that stuff. All they need is to be an example, and the collective will get the message. So the appeal is something very important to understand about the six line being. They have a natural appeal as an example, and they have also a natural appeal as not self. The world is filled with horrendous examples, and they're invariably six line beings, because they're the ones that the example is expected. In the same way that we have a projection on the five that they're going to be the best, we have a projection on the six that they're going to be correct. So we need to be correct, my six line friends. Ay, 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 ay. When the six isn't correct, it's a shockwave. It really is. You see that in the 28-6, that's not to be correct or is so painful that you rather die. You just rather die. It's the ultimate horror for the six. The other side of it is that the sixth line of the 20 that says, here's the ultimate line of wisdom. But wisdom how? It's an example, only as an example. So whenever you're dealing with the six line theme, you can clearly see this incredible pressure to grow through the process and survive the early part of the process, so they can get to that point, and also the limitation, because that's what we pointed at. Then we go to the 6-3. The 6-3 seems so clearly that limitation. It stands there like a giant brick wall that says, when you get past that door, what does it matter? There's nothing more nihilistic than a 61 that is a 6-3, and nihilism is part of the 6-3 psyche. What's the point? Even if I have a good idea, so what? What it's worth? Would I buy me a seat in heaven? Would it give me immortality? Would it bring me good sex? And the 6-3 says, look at this. There's a wall over there. I'm not going to get past that damn wall. This is it, and this is the end. It ends here. You'll see. The 60 and the 31, the 19, the 41 and the 90, and already laying the foundation for you to die and come back. The 60 is just opening up your asshole so you can fly out, literally. So here we get to the 61, and you get to the 63, and here's this, boof, okay, I've gone as far as I can go. That's it, I give up. By the way, that's not necessarily a negative. It's this gateway to mystical wonder. In other words, if you get to the end of the point where genetic inner truth will not lead the answer that makes a difference, there must be something else. The one thing that the 61 will go through in its life and will understand as part of its process is that it's not meaningless, but it only feels that way because we don't get it. And the 61 understand that. There are things that you can't get. And the furthest extreme of the 6 tree is the sense of just because I can't get it doesn't mean there isn't something to get. Just because I don't know doesn't mean that the knowing can't be there. And it's true. I've seen this. I know so clear that the intelligence that I experience, that no human being in any way can be compared to that intelligence. It's so far beyond our concept of intelligence that the idea that somehow that we can know these grand answers is just a delusion. And the beauty of the 6 tree and its nihilism is that the nihilism isn't the pointless nihilism. It's a kind of like, this is as far as I can go. I accept. I accept that this is as far as we can go. These are the beings that when somebody says, I've got it, I've got the answer, they look at them and say, yeah, 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 heard that before. And I guarantee you that when you tell me, I'll point out to you that that's not the answer. It's one of the things with the 6 trees is that every time that I touch the 6 tree, I really have a victory for the forces. It's like, oh, see, I was right. If you wait long enough, there is something. So yeah, it's not easy to be a 6 tree. I really know it. I've seen them around, role model anarchist who wants to be a role model anarchist. But these are the kind of people we need right now. We need these anarchists. We need 3 6s and 6 tree to break down the whole collective old system.